Good afternoon, morning, evening, everybody. This is just a quick video to talk about what's going on this week. Um, in sports, as before, I'm trying this weekly show where I give my breakdown of everything that happened over the weekend. Anyways, let's start off, and I'm doing this later. And I would have done it. I would have done it over the weekend, but I said do it later because A, I was out of town Friday through Sunday, so I couldn't do it. And B, I said that I wait until deadline passed so I can go through everything that happened. Um, anyways, let's get started. With the trade deadline. Orioles got starting pitchers Zach Eflin and Trevor Rogers. They also got relievers Francis Dominguez and Gregory Soto. They got outfielders Elo Jimenez, Austin Slater, Christian Pache, and they also got infielder Levin Soto. So decent production in. Out, however, went Austin Hayes, Kyle Stowers, Connor Norby, Matthew Edsel, Mike Horvath, Seth Johnson, Jackson Baumeister, and Trey McGow. So a bit of talent leaving. I was especially sad to see Hayes, Stowers, Norby, and Johnson go. Um, But besides that, I like what they've done here. Zeppelin and Rogers should do damage complete time as two starters. Dominguez is a really good reliever, and I've liked what I've seen so far. Both as Western Phillies and as an Oriole. And Pache and Jimenez should give us depth in the outfield, especially after losing Austin Hayes, who's another righty. And that was probably the biggest piece leaving was Austin Hayes. However, a couple of big prospects in Connor Norby and Kyle Stowers are a bit disappointing in leaving as well. Also, I had high hopes for Seth Johnson, but clearly Orioles went to go a different direction, going for now instead of rebuilding for the future. Um, they also have their first losing months in over 2 years, going 10-13 at the time I am recording this, July 30th. So they officially do not have a winning record this month. Um, so even if they win, they'll still have a losing record overall in July. First losing months since I want to say April or May of 2022. They didn't have any losing months throughout 2023, and the first half of 2024 they've been really good. There's a couple reasons to lose months. Number one, pitching. They've been trampled with pitchers this year. Besides Burns and Rodriguez, being their two big guys in this rotation, they've lost Kramer to significant time. Luckily, he's back. But they've lost John Means, Tyler Wells, and Kyle Bradish all to Tommy John. They're going through this year without Felix Bautista. And they also are out, but their best left-handed reliever, Danny Coulomb, until September. So that three starters and two top relievers out for an unknown amount of time, which really puts a dent in it, especially with the number two reason. The bats have really taken a nosedive and have been relatively quiet, especially coming from your top two guys, Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson. The bats have not looked too strong. I mean, they've moved Colin Cowser to leadoff, and he's actually been pretty good there. And Santander now leads the team in home runs. First Oriole to reach 30 this year as well. So you got the two of them, and you also have Jordan Westberg, who's been all right. Um, and besides that, yeah, Rushman's been quiet since the All Star break. Gunnar Henderson's been quiet since the All Star break. Um, Mountcastle has put up a couple good games here and there, but for the most part, has been relatively quiet. O'Hearn, same thing, has a couple good games here and there, but for the most part, hasn't had that strong of a stretch since the All Star break. So, and of course, you got Craig Kimbrell, who's blown a couple saves since it as well, especially with the debacle in Miami and San Diego. So, not great. Um, but besides that, it could have been better. Luckily for them, the Yankees have also not been good. So they haven't lost that the lead in the AL East either. Yeah, so that's with the Orioles news. So moving on to the Ravens. Let's start off with training camp has officially started, and I am personally very excited to see how training camp goes. Let's start off with quarterback Lamar Jackson. I know he's been quiet since training camp started. This has mainly been because he's been injured. Well, not injured, sick, but luckily it sounds like he is improving, and I'm not really taking anything out of it, really. It's whatever. Whatever at this point. Same thing with any stats that come out of it. I really, really don't care about the stats or any minor injuries to big names. If Lamar Jackson or Derrick Henry or Mark Andrews or Marlon Humphrey get 2 or 3 games here and there because because of some ailment, it's whatever. The only concern is if it's long term, like it's weeks, months on end, then it becomes okay. What the heck is happening here? But if it's just 2 or 3 days, I honestly don't give a crap. Um, the thing I'm more interested in with training camp is the position battles, specifically left guard, um, and the nickelback. Let's start with left guard. I think that's the most unknown position on this offensive line. Left tackle is Ronnie Stanley. Center is Linderbaum. Right guard is Voorhees. And right tackle is Rosengarten. I think that's going to be your four right there. The bigger question is who's starting left guard. And I think it's going to come down to Ben Cleveland, Sala, I can't really pronounce his last name, and Falele. I think those are going to be your final three looking for that left guard spot. Now that Simpson's gone. And I think it could come down to any three of them. I'm going to take a guess. I'm going to go with Ben Cleveland, but I really, really don't know. Um, and the second spot I said is nickel. Humphrey and Stevens, I think, are starting outside. Maybe your nickel back to a couple guys. You got your starting nickel last year, Mollett coming back. You also have your original nickel back last year, Ardarius Washington. Um, and you also have the rookie Wiggins, and I think Nate Wiggins will start the year in the nickel. Um, I think that could be your defense going into the year. I think they're going to run a 4-2-5. I think Pierce and Matty BK will be their front two. Then their four linebackers will be Van Noy and Owe on the outside, and then their inside being Smith and Simpson. And then their five defensive backs are Humphrey and Stevens on the outside, safeties Williams and Hamilton, and then their nickel being Wiggins. I think that's how it's going to look going into the year. But besides those two positions, I don't really think there's many competitions elsewhere. Running back should be Derrick Henry. Wide receiver should be Flowers, Bateman, Aguilar. The big question is who's the four. And right now, I think the four is going to be Walker. I think Walker's going to be the four over Hasty. I think he'll pass Hasty for four. And tight end should be Andrews. I already said the offensive line. I already said the two defensive linemen. Although you can make the argument if they do 3-4, it's either going to be Broderick Washington or Brent Urban. Uh, and it's mainly been Urban there. However, Broderick Washington steps up. He could take the third spot. And then the linebackers, Ojabo is the only other guy I can see fighting for that other out linebacker spot. But the question is who's he's replacing. Aware of Inuit, I think Away is the more likely guy that will be replaced over there. With Ojabo steps up. Tavius Robinson is another guy that I'm interested in, think. And I already went through my defensive backs. So yeah, that's everything I want to go through this video. Uh, I started with the Orioles uh, trade deadline and thoughts on June, July, and then this ended with the Ravens training camp. See ya.